Hey, PJ here. So today I'm going to show you a gadget that I have that I originally saw that pro sports teams had for their athletes that I was really jealous about. And I really wished I was a pro athlete or rich enough to get one of these gizmos that automatically cools your core temperature down. But they were just too expensive. But then I'll show you how I broke through and hacked that and what I have now that's just as good. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? And this gizmo cools down my core temperature because of special capillaries in my palms. So I've got ice in here. It's actually little frozen thingies that you put in your water bottle. Then you fill the rest up with cold water. This is my water jug. Gallon. Make sure I drink one of those a day. That's about enough. So then I'm gonna fill this up to the fill line. Fill line, can you see it? And then I'm gonna turn it on. And then I'm gonna put the lid on. And then I'm going to hit the purge switch to get the air out. Can you see in the tube the air coming out? Can you see it? Can you see it? Most of the air is out of them air tubes. This is a vacuum. I'm gonna stick my hand in here, and inside of here, there's a little pad that I put my palm on, and the water circulating through that pad. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? And then when I have my arm in there, this seals over my wrist to make it airtight, so then the vacuum pulls blood into my hand, so I get more circulation over my palms, which is where those little capillaries are, those special capillaries. The palms of your hands and the soles of your feet are super coolers and super heaters. That's why those little hand warmers are so great. And that's why the toe warmers and the boot warmers are so great. So if your hands and feet are warm, you'll probably be warm. And if they're cold, you'll probably be cold. So what I do with this is I do a killer workout, something really hard, and get really hot. And then I come and put this on as I'm resting between segments. And when my core temperature comes down, then I'm able to do that second set and third set and fourth set, how many sets I have, with more recovery, because fatigue is really more about temperature. We used to think it was lactic acid and it was a fuel issue. Now we know it's temperature, muscle temperature. So when you bring down your core temperature, you're bringing down your muscle temperature, your recovery is accelerated, and then you can put more into those subsequent sets. So it doesn't really matter what exercise you're doing, anything is going to get you hot. So it could be just a minute of pull-ups to like 2 minutes on something like this. So now I put on my little ice vacuum. Make sure it's sealed around my wrist so it's airtight. My palm is on that pad in there, so it's pulling blood into that palm. And I'm gonna do this for like 2 to 5 minutes so I'm more recovered. So I could go back and do another set of that and feel refreshed. Or I could go climb on Jacob and feel like I have more energy. And so it's like a couple hours of recovery within 5 minutes. I do this on the days that I have more time. Normally I don't have the patience for this. And I'm the guy that invented the 21-minute workout. So my thing is about time. But once a week for extra endurance recovery and training. You can see this thing is all sucked up. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you? I feel like a Borg. I've been assimilated. Can you see it? Can you see it? Another thing I like to do though, is actually use this while I'm exercising. So when I'm going for a walk on this incline trainer, I can wear it and stay cooler and go longer and put a little more intensity into it without the limitation of the body heat. It's still gonna catch up to me, but it's gonna be a little bit later. And it's only like 50-ish degrees in here, because if it's too cold, then the capillaries start to constrict and then the effectiveness is reduced. And if it's not cold enough, then you're just not cooling down enough. But it's that temperature combined with the suction of drawing the blood into the hands that really helps. And that's what makes it work. Okay, so I'm just gonna go 2 miles an hour at 40% grade. And it's gonna buy me some extra seconds. See that suction? Now watch. I'm gonna pull it off. Brace the suction. So some people know me as the budget biohacker, and they say, well, that's not on a budget. But you know what? When this thing first came out, it was about $6,000. And this is less than a third of that. I didn't buy the original one, even though I wanted it more than anything. But because I waited a few years, they came out with a budget model. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And side note, these are some of the things that I put in there. So I just stick these in the freezer and they freeze right up. Here's the side note. The important side note is I will wrap these with a thin wet towel and hang on to it. And that's the same effect on the capillaries. It's better than not doing it. And I've measured with a thin towel, it's about 50 degrees. Because you can't hold them like this because that's too cold. But the only disadvantage, of course, is you don't have the vacuum. So you can't be pulling your blood into those capillaries. But this actually works. I'd say maybe a third as good as this, which is about 20 times faster than just normal recovery in the air without any assistance. So I've proved this with stair climb races, where we're doing multi-buildings and we're taking breaks between the buildings, and we're definitely faster. So this is the poor man's version. The extreme budget version. P.S. side note to that side note is when I was doing the world record stair climb competition, where a team of 4 of us climbed a building for 24 hours. We had a pool, a little kiddie pool with 50-degree water where we could sit and put our feet in there until it was our turn again, and palms too if we want. And that worked great as well. Try it out. It's just a bucket of cold water, with something to measure the temperature. Hope this gets you thinking, because biohacking is a lot easier than a lot of people think it is. And a lot of biohackers make it seem and sound way too complicated. It's not. It's just experimenting with yourself based on science and research you might read somewhere or something you might hear, and then just to see if it works. Because not everything works on everybody. You got to find out for yourself what works on you with your unique physiology. So you have to be your own biohacker. But here's how to do it on a budget.
And that's all I have to say about that.